right now as a major shift in Bitcoin dominance is now occurring. We're going to be looking at some technical analysis for some altcoins, as well as comparing Bitcoin's price action right now to gold, and then going over some awesome headlines, including Binance pledging to burn over $2 billion in their tokens, as well as some Donald Trump controversy, and then Tether mistakenly printing over $5 billion worth of USDT. But more than that, what's really important about this live stream today is we're going to look at really what's happening with these altcoins and where we're projected to start heading in the next several weeks, as we're seeing these altcoins like Ethereum and Litecoin and Ripple getting brutalized right now by Bitcoin's consolidation. And so we're going to look at some double charts, but this is actually a chart we had before this initial ABCD correction occurred, and it has stayed strong and true for the last 3 weeks. You can see we dipped right into this accumulation zone, and we had some amazing signals sent out to our Profit Club. For those of you that are getting our premium crypto signals at our Profit Club, you can see we had over 100% gains here. We caught Bitcoin's bottom once again. We sent out a buy signal for that. You can see we also got Ethereum as well just yesterday alone. So for those of you that are not getting our signals, the link is in the description below. I highly recommend at least just trying it out for a month. It is very, very profitable if you guys make use of it. And I'm also starting to send daily updates. And I have a really cool announcement to make. So as we start wrapping up our pre-sale for Traders Profit Club, I am in the next week going to be adding our AI trader signals to our premium group. What that means is you guys are going to be getting the signals that are auto trading large amounts of funds right now. And this auto trader is pretty much built to look at the lows and highs of the market and only buy in the lows and only sell at the highs. And so that's going to be coming to all of you guys in our premium group. But let's first look at Bitcoin's technical analysis. We dipped right into this accumulation zone. The biggest thing that I want you guys to realize out of this TA here is we bounced on this 50-day moving average, this red line right here, which is a very, very healthy correction. It's exactly what we needed. And as we talked about 2 weeks ago, we were waiting for this 50-day moving average to start heading towards this accumulation zone that we drew out. And that 98 to that 10.4 area has acted as a really good entry for Bitcoin to then go ahead and immediately see profits, with Bitcoin heading back into the consolidation zone towards that $10,700 to $12,300 range. And so right now, what I'm looking at for the next target is going to be right below this EMA. I don't expect us to just break through this EMA, this exponential moving average, which is this light blue here. So I think we'll see a target of around 11,200, and then maybe see some pullback back down towards this support of around 10,700, and then continue to consolidate within this zone. And one reason that I was super confident about sending out my signals yesterday for Bitcoin and Ethereum to go long was because if we look at gold's price action and Bitcoin being the fact that it's pretty much mimicking what's happening with gold, you can see we're seeing even better price action on the daily for gold, as we're still above that EMA. So we're still bouncing bullish. And then not only that, we triple bottomed here and we are still at this consolidation area. And so I expect the exact same thing to happen here with price action for Bitcoin, and for us to stay in this consolidation area, because you can see we're not necessarily seeing the best amount of buy volume. However, we're seeing just enough to stay in these zones, and just knowing that the fact that we're in this consolidation zone, we want to pay attention to what's happening with altcoins. So the scenario that I'm looking at here right now is that the consolidation for Bitcoin will continue, and altcoins are potentially going to continue to drop, because as we're starting to see with Bitcoin dominance right now, we're starting to see Bitcoin break major resistance right now with its dominance. And you can see on this weekly chart, we are starting to head back towards that 80% dominance range that I talked to you guys about in past videos. And I definitely believe this is going to continue to see upside. And what's interesting about that is we're seeing with the total cryptocurrency market cap is we broke a major support level, which is now going to act as resistance. And so we've pretty much got this consolidation area here between 220 billion and 280 billion within the market cap that I believe will see some sort of consolidation area while we start to see more of these altcoins lose Satoshi value and Bitcoin continue to gain its value as it continues in this consolidation area. And so we're going to talk about everything I just talked about. We also have a huge live audience right now. I see we have JRM O'Brien on. He says, thanks for the book, Naeem. We may do a book giveaway at the end of this live stream. For those of you that stay tuned, we can give away Principles by Ray Dalio. That's one of my favorite books on financial markets as we start to head towards this next world recession. I see we have Joshua Ward on. Yo, bro. Darth Crypto. Chase Mueller says, the silver to gold ratio is breaking out. Typically when silver breaks over gold, all metals jump, which should push the dollar down, also bring Bitcoin up. We're going to talk about some headlines about Donald Trump's opinion on Bitcoin and things like that. But most important, let's talk about these altcoins. So if we look at this double chart here, we look at what's happening right now in comparison to Bitcoin and these altcoins. Let's pull up Ethereum into Bitcoin here, which is on the right. You can see we've got this daily chart here to the right, as well as this daily chart to the left. And if we were to go ahead and look at what has happened since Bitcoin has entered this consolidation zone, you can see here, if we look at what happened to Ethereum since Bitcoin has entered this zone, it has just been traumatized. You can see it broke this major support of 2.5 million Satoshis. And when we look at the weekly chart, that is now going to act as a very strong resistance. And now we have this huge downside potential to go all the way down back towards that 742,000 Satoshi range, all the way from around 2 million right now. And so if you were to ask me right now, what's the best place to have your liquidity, I would say altcoins right now are extremely dangerous. We actually posted a video almost a week ago talking about how Bitcoin was going to possibly do this. And as you can see, it's starting to play out for itself. When we look at Litecoin, you can see also broke major support levels, still on its way down, still in a major downtrend on this weekly chart. And the same exact thing here with Ripple. It's actually looking a lot worse. You can see that major support here broke and we're starting to head down. And when we look at this daily chart here compared to what's happening to Bitcoin in this consolidation area, you can see as Bitcoin consolidates, we're still seeing downside with these altcoins. And so with that being said, I am expecting us to now, with this total cryptocurrency market cap breaking this major support level, I am going to be expecting us to see some form of consolidation between this $220 billion market cap to $280 billion market cap, allowing Bitcoin to also consolidate, and then seeing a transfer of capital and liquidity going from altcoins towards Bitcoin. And I'm going to show you guys a chart here that's also going to prove that. If we pull up coin market cap, you can see Bitcoin dominance breaking these major resistance levels, while altcoins, you can see here a very clear downtrend right now with altcoin dominance in comparison to Bitcoin. Why is that the case? Well, altcoins at the end of the day don't necessarily have the best intrinsic value, and that's what we've always looked for here when looking at any sort of coin or crypto as an investment. It's what's the intrinsic value. And what's really interesting about all of this as well is when we look at what's happening with Binance, as we start to see the BNB coin also break major support levels and is in a major downtrend on the weekly, you can see it's almost as if CZ is coming out and trying to save the BNB coin. You can see they just announced here yesterday, Binance pledges to burn its entire team allocation of BNB, over $2 billion to be burned. And you can see here, CZ here says, everything considered, we want to give back more to the community, and we also think that's best for the BNB token. At this stage, we want to increase the utility of the token and have more people use it than just say we want to increase the revenue for Binance.com. It's hard for me to believe the fact that they don't want to see more revenue for Binance. I think this is a way for them to now make the BNB coin a little bit more valuable so that it can stop this downtrend and at least hopefully start to uptrend alongside with Bitcoin. But I definitely think that CZ and the Binance team is realizing right now that with looking at Bitcoin dominance, it's broken these major resistance, and we're starting to see Bitcoin take all of the liquidity in this market as we start to see altcoins lose liquidity and lose USD value alongside with Satoshi value. And so that's the biggest thing right now with what's happening in the market. You can see if we look at confirmed transactions per day, which is also a very important fundamental aspect of Bitcoin, we're maintaining these higher levels of transactions per day, over 300,000 per day, which is where we peaked when Bitcoin initially hit 20,000 US dollars. And so seeing that we're seeing this more consistent use of Bitcoin is also showing me that the intrinsic value here is starting to flow more towards Bitcoin than it is towards these altcoins. And so I'd love to hear you guys' opinion on that. I am starting to lose my voice. I'm still a little bit under the weather, which is why I didn't have a video come out on Friday. But if you guys haven't looked and checked out our interview with Jeremy Gardner, the founder of Augur, which is a top 50 coin worth billions of dollars, and he's actually still in his mid-20s. That's an amazing interview that we had. It was about an hour long. So I highly recommend you guys check that out. And then to move on to some more analysis and fundamentals here. You can see here, U.S. Treasury Secretary slams Bitcoin, crypto, and Libra as a national security issue. And what's very interesting about that is you can also see here Donald Trump finally tweeting about Bitcoin, saying, I'm not a fan of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies which are not money and whose value is highly volatile. Well, here's the thing. We know it's not money. That's not the point of Bitcoin. It's a storage of value. It's not supposed to be used as a currency, because as a currency in its form currently, it's not efficient, right? And so, yeah, Donald Trump might be tweeting about Bitcoin. Yeah, the U.S. Treasury Secretary might be saying that it's a national security issue, but at the end of the day, they can't stop it. And if they were to try to, quote unquote, ban it or try to implement more strict regulatory actions towards this market, it's just going to increase the value just like anything else, because now not only will Bitcoin become more valuable, but it's going to almost be like a drug now. It's like, yo, you got some Bitcoin? Let me get some Bitcoin, right? And that's going to increase the value because now it's harder to access. And so they're not just going to overall ban it. They're not just going to create crazy regulatory strict rules against it. I think it's something that just can't be stopped right now. And I think that's a very important thing to realize, but there's still a lot of maturity in this market to come, because you can see there's still a lot of things that are very, 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 I would say, a gray area in this market, such as Tether mistakenly printing 5 billion tokens here recently. Just understanding how Tether works, it's almost like a legal Ponzi scheme. They're currently in a lawsuit with the U.S. Justice Department. And so, there's still maturity to be made in this market. I don't think we've yet to see institutional volume come in, but the point is we're starting to see institutional interest. We're starting to see a large amount of people utilize this technology to transfer value over borders, and that's creating a more interconnected economy, as we've talked about here before in the past. And therefore, I think that we definitely have a huge future to come here for Bitcoin. And if you guys agree that Bitcoin is the future, like this video, make sure to show some support here on YouTube. And let's take some questions before we wrap up this live stream, because my voice is going away as I am a little bit sick. Virus says, who here is a part of Traders Profit Club? Well, if you're not, I would highly recommend joining our free Discord, because you'll see all of our signal results there. And we also post signals here every now and then. But yeah, we're starting to not just post signals, we're posting daily updates. So it's not just for you traders anymore. If you just want to have an overall understanding of where this market is at, so you're not constantly going out and doing all of this work, trying to figure out what are the fundamentals, what are the technicals, that's what Traders Profit Club is for. We just send you guys notifications to your phone with market updates, signals, and we are soon going to be sending out our auto trader signals, which is going to be very interesting. And we only trade accounts over 100,000 on that auto trader. I think there's over $40 million being managed on it right now. And so we're going to be sending all those signals out to our premium members, which is basically a bot that auto trades Bitcoin. As soon as it sees high momentum to the downside or high momentum to the upside, it buys low and sells high. And so those are really going to help with those of you that are doing BitMEX and day trading, because you'll be able to use those signals as confirmations, which will be really cool. So anyways, yeah, so somebody says, how do I join? The link is in the description below for Traders Profit Club. Drarcray says, human trafficking, trade washing, many illegal activities, causes of crypto. Well, did you guys see the headline that JP Morgan, there was a ship owned by JP Morgan that was caught with, I think it was like 2 million pounds of cocaine or something? It was ridiculous, right? So if they're worried about people doing that with Bitcoin, I think we should be more worried about our world banks, selling drugs right now. I think there are a lot more issues on the table than just cryptocurrencies, and it's something that these governments can't necessarily stop whatsoever. They can't just ban Bitcoin, right? You can just download your own node and download all of the previous transactions, and now you have Bitcoin again. So, it's not something that they can control at this point, and that's the type of stuff that disrupts industries, right? And I think for the first time ever, we're seeing a disruption in the world economy. We're seeing a disruption in the way that we exchange value with people, right? And so Bitcoin is creating a more interconnected economy, and alongside with that, it's a duplication of what happened with the internet, which eventually led to social media that created a more interconnected social realm on the digital side, and now we're just seeing that transition to finance, which is beautiful. So let's see. Mark says, BNB hodl with the burn, will value continue to rise? No, I wouldn't say BNB burning coins is a reason to start buying up BNB. all of these altcoins have broken major support levels on high time frames. So what that means is, you can see here with Bitcoin, we broke this 2.9 million Satoshi mark right here. That's a very, I'm sorry, is that 2.9 or is that 298? I believe, so we broke that 2.9 area. That was a major support here on the high time frame for BNB, and you can see we're starting to head down. We do have this next potential support, which was previous resistance here at 2.5, but with looking at what happened to XRP, it broke that support and it's still going down. Ethereum still going down. So these altcoins are just not looking good right now. But what's really interesting is, instead of us just seeing a ton of liquidity come into this market, and for all of these coins like in 2017 to see a rise in value and Bitcoin dominance dropping, because remember, when Bitcoin initially went to 20,000, the dominance went from 65%, and within a couple months, it dropped all the way down to 33% dominance. So the cause of the bear market was Bitcoin losing dominance, but it seems as if the cause of this new bull market is Bitcoin gaining dominance, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean that the total cryptocurrency market cap has to increase in order for Bitcoin to gain dominance. All that needs to happen is we see liquidity go from the altcoins towards Bitcoin. And so that's why I think it's really important to get your information from the right sources when it comes to this market, since it's not a trillion-dollar market yet. So there's a lot more manipulation, a lot more volatility. And so for those of you that are getting our signals in our Discord, you guys are in good hands. We will be keeping you guys up to date. I'm going to wrap this live stream up and get back to my charts, because even though I'm sick, I can still trade, but the live streams are a bit tougher. So I definitely appreciate any likes on this video for going live while I'm sick. I'd love to give away a book as well. So why don't we ask a question about a topic we covered in this live stream? I'll give away my favorite book, which is Principles by Ray Dalio. If you go to our Discord as well, you can go to Helpful Reads and you can see Principles here. Ray Dalio owns the largest hedge fund in the world, which means he manages the most amount of money in the world, over $150 billion of privately held assets that they manage through Bridgewater Associates, which is his hedge fund. He talks about market cycles. Every 10 to 12 years, there's a market cycle, and it's already been 11 years since our last market cycle. Typically during market cycles, people will act accordingly and transfer their capital towards a hedge. And so Bitcoin is doing very well right now. Gold is doing very well right now. It's just a matter of time before we see what's going to happen. Is Bitcoin going to continue to see upside, break 13.5? I don't think in the near term we'll see the 13.5 level broken, but I will say from inside sources that I've had that a $15,000 Bitcoin is very likely soon, especially as we start to see the liquidity from these altcoins flow back into Bitcoin, because that's what's happening in this market right now. People are seeing the intrinsic value in Bitcoin being a limited asset that doesn't have unlimited quantity, and they're losing the hope that they have in some of these altcoin projects, which is also what happened in 2000, right? So history repeats itself. So nothing major. But for those of you that are just tuning in here to our live stream, the biggest thing that has occurred is Bitcoin bounced on its 50-day moving average. All these altcoins have broken major support levels, which will now become resistance, which means we're potentially heading down with these altcoins, and Bitcoin will most likely continue to consolidate here, as well as we see the total cryptocurrency market cap also take a little bit of a break, because you can see we also broke major support, which is now resistance. So if we continue to see consolidation, I wouldn't be surprised for a bounce on that 100-day moving average before we could see any continued upside for Bitcoin. But remember, Cambridge Analytics in March issued the recommendation to over $300 billion in managed assets to start putting some of their funds towards cryptocurrencies and blockchain. And that typically takes about a year to a year and a half for full compliance for these hedge funds to then go ahead and go purchase the asset of Bitcoin. And so if you give it another 6 to 12 months, we may or may not ever see these lower prices below 10,000 ever again. But hopefully during this accumulation zone, we continue to consolidate here. And if so, there are going to be opportunities on a daily basis for us to buy Bitcoin during this accumulation area and sell it at higher levels to just constantly take advantage of these 20 to 30% swings. So that's what I'm watching right now. I hope you guys appreciated those signals yesterday. They were pretty bold. I wasn't seeing many analysts, bullish on Bitcoin yesterday. I got a lot of feedback on that, but I sent out a Bitcoin and an Ethereum long to our premium members. All of them have hit profits, over 100% gains for those of you in our profit club. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I'm going to head out. My voice is going away. Like the video if you guys enjoy this content. And for those of you that are not part of our profit club, remember the link is in the description below. Great Day says, are we our body or mind? Philosophical question. Interesting. Let's see if there's any other question. Justin Janaeon, nice, effects so sick, ex-doctor. Is XLM a part of Libra? Libra is going to be a huge deal. When you give people, see, Facebook's only intrinsic value is the amount of users they have on their platform. And therefore, when they released Libra, they're now giving access to all of their users to utilize a wallet. And now that allows them to potentially liquidate into Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies, or just use Libra. And so that's going to be a pretty big deal. And I think that's why we're seeing a little bit of some hesitancy from regulatory officials. You can see the U.S. Treasury here. They're looking at Libra and crypto now, and they're like, man, this might be an actual security risk because of all of the drugs and all of the other things that are quote unquote being used with Bitcoin to launder funds or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, JP Morgan just got caught, like I said, doing or moving cocaine, right? So it's like, you know, you look at the government and, you know, one of my mentors told me this. He said, if you want to see the state of our government, just walk into your local DMV. Right. So that's how the government runs. And, you know, it is what it is. And that's why we need something to disrupt it. Right. Will it be Bitcoin? We'll see. Nice says, why throw a buy signal for ETH out there and then go back on it? Should we sell into BTC or hold? Don't ignore a valid question. I'm not sure what you're asking, Nice, but when we threw the Ethereum signal out, it was at a very, very, very oversold point. It bounced right back because as a trader, you make more money taking advantage of volatile opportunities than you do just holding. And so that's why we buy and sell. And then should we sell into BTC now or hold? Well, it's really up to you. What are you selling into BTC? Are you trading or are you just holding long term? So, you know, I know you said don't ignore a valid question, but I think you're being a little bit egotistical there, man. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, when we send a signal out, it's up to you how you trade it. We provide you guys a 30 video course for all of you in our profit club to be able to actually learn how to trade if you've never traded before. It goes over all of our platforms. It goes over multiple strategies. We even have a premium education section here with over 10 hours of video content from institutional analysts. And so you guys have all these strategies. So it's up to you how you trade the signals. That's not up to me, but, you know, we send them daily. So let's see here. Monster says, what about long-term portfolio for altcoins like BTT, etc.? BTT hasn't been doing bad, but just right now in general, altcoins as a whole are in a state of emergency, in my opinion. You know, they've all broken major support, which means those will now become resistance. And so it's not only confirmed a downtrend, but it's also very, very likely for it to continue to see downside. So Great Day says, JP Morgan's ship was rented by cartels as long as I'm aware. That's what they always. JRM says the cocaine and then they buy silver. Justin says BitMEX signals. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. He says we're killing it with the BitMEX signals. You know, because when you're risking any sort of leverage, even if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5x, you want to make sure you're in those signals. Like we sent out a Binance signal for buying Bitcoin as well, but it was a little bit earlier, right? So we had a 9.9 to 10.6 entry on that. But then for the BitMEX signal, it was a very shorter, you know, it was after we saw the complete drop, and it, you know, it made sense. And, you know, really that 50-day moving average, as soon as I saw that bounce, it was like, there you go. You know, that's how I knew we'll see this nice pump of this green candle. So I think we'll start heading towards that EMA here towards 11.2 before we see any sort of loss of momentum here with the buyer side. So anyways, where do you see XRP's bottom? You know, it's hard to say with these altcoins at this point. They've all broken these major support levels. So the next support here for Ripple is going to be right around that 1,200 Satoshi mark from 2,900 Satoshis. So that's really what I would look for right now for the next major support. You know, there's just no volume. You can see we've got no volume, no price action. It's just not looking good. Bitcoin is starting to take over, and that's why we made that video about 2 weeks ago. And the title of it was "Why Altcoins Will Die" or whatever. I don't know what the title was, but it was pretty much that. So other than that, thank you guys so much here. Let's see. Mark says, can U.S. investors still put money into Binance? No, you can't open a Binance account for your U.S. customer. If you are currently on an account that will expire in September, you won't be able to trade anymore, but you'll still be able to withdraw, so don't be worried. And then Binance should have a new U.S. platform up by then, hopefully. But the majority of Binance's traffic comes from the U.S., so I don't think CZ is going to jeopardize that business. So, all right, my voice is going out, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on post notifications because we don't have an exact time that we go live, but we try to do it every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that'll help you guys for those of you that want the notifications. So YouTube has push notifications. Turn that on. Subscribe to our channel, and we also have our iTunes podcast for those of you that likes to listen on the go. So this will be on podcast here shortly. And other than that, thank you guys so much. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm going to get behind the charts because it's way easier to do that while you're sick than it is to live stream. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And with that being said, Naeem Al-Beidi here, and I'm checking out.